Hello and welcome back to part 3 of our robot construction. So here we are, we've got our robot and we've got our leg completed. So we are going to move on. So the next part is to make the torso, and then we'll duplicate our leg here and fashion it into some sort of arm. And so the design I have in mind for this is a bar that's low slung, and that has a ball and socket joint coming out of it to a cube, and then from that cube we'll have two arms. So it'll be a straightforward enough design. So I'm going to take my arm here and go Shift D and Alt or, which is to remove the rotation. So we'll rotate it 90 degrees and individual cursor, and then rotate it 90 again and just move it up here roughly into position. So what I want is that actually to go closer to what I started with. So now let's get this roughly into the right shape and right position. So let's place that there. Now I'm going to delete a lot of the geometry here, so I'm going to apply the mirror modifier and then go to edit mode, but most of this I'm going to delete, and will be, so let's just delete all that to start with, and I probably want to delete a bit more, so that bit there. Perfect. Now so SZ0 brings us to a flat neutral point. I can select these 5 and these 5 and do a bridge edge loop. Then I can select the entire circumference and then extrude downwards. I'll put in a loop cut here and a loop cut here. Now let's see if we can go 1, 2, 3 and bridge edge loop, and then that leaves us with some minor kind of matching to do. So I'm just trying to match my geometry so I have enough edges. So again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So W, bridge edge loop, and then I can fill in the last face, and the same over here. And we'll do the same on this side. So select those 8, then go W, nope, that's not what I wanted. W and face and face. Okay, so we have this here. So we're going to take this and we're going to apply the mirror modifier, and then take that and extend it across to there, and move this a bit further in, then bring that back. Okay, now with this guy, we're going to take these faces here and extrude them. Okay. Now, maybe we don't want to extrude them that much, so we'll go GX, we'll bring it back to there. And Shift S, cursor to selected. Then we go Object, Transform, Origin to 3D Cursor, which you've seen me do before, and now we're going to use our mirror modifier. Now, as before, we don't have a beautiful join, and that's because there are faces in the way. We have internal geometry which we want to get rid of, so X and delete the faces, and then it will join perfectly. So now what we want is all of this, and we're going to go Shift D to duplicate, Object, Mirror on global X, and go GX. And that looks about right there. Okay. Now we have a whole bunch of naming and labeling to do, but we're making progress. So, as I said, from here I want to make a ball and socket joint. So I'm going to just extrude down from here. Oops. So extrude and extrude, and then we'll loop cut that, and loop cut again, and again from here I'm going to go extrude and then scale and extrude and extrude, and I may need to drop this a little bit. Okay, we'll cut in there. Okay, so this is going to be basically our the point that's kind of holding it all together. So to make a ball and socket joint, I'm just going to save this as bot number 3. There we go. So we can just have a staged kind of look at the blend files if you want to examine them. So to make a ball and socket joint, what I'm going to do is, first of all, I'm just going to center up my cursor. So I'm going to Shift S, cursor to selected, and I'm going to add a sphere. So UV sphere, and I'm going to bring it down to 12 and 12. So there's my UV sphere, and we bring it in and we'll smooth it off. So I'm just going to drop it here for a second, and we're going to have a play. So I'm going to delete that top vertex, and then I can extrude upwards from here. Okay, and we can add a subsurface modifier. And we'll probably add in a loop cut and another loop cut, and then in here 2 more. We'll scale them on Z, and then we're going to extrude them, but scale them on Z. Okay, so to make a ball and socket joint, so first of all you need sort of like a cup, like a holder. So we will we could delete the top of this, which is probably the way to go. We will do that in a moment, but we need to put inside of it another sphere. So so I'm going to place my cursor in the center there before I delete anything, so I know where the next sphere is going to go, and I'm going to delete those vertices. Now at these ones, I am going to go E, and we'll just scale that in there. So I'm not really worried about the inside of this. I'm actually going to get rid of this ground plane just for a second so we can look up underneath. So yeah, the exact placement of this I'm not too worried about. So again, I'm going to add a sphere, and it's 12 and 12, which is fine, and scale it down until it fits to about there. I'm going to add our subsurface modifier and set it to be smooth. And I want this to be a cube, so I'm going to delete that there, and then all of these guys. So the idea is that this can roll from side to side, and I'm going to take this and go E and scale it up, and I'm going to put in a loop cut here. Now just for, again, simplicity of modeling, I'm going to take this and delete it, and we're going to add in a mirror modifier. So what I want to do is I want to take these three, I'm going to go SX0, and then on these three I'm going to go SY0, and do the same here at the back, SY0, and then we'll have turned our sphere into a cube. So we'll extrude this down, scale it up a bit, and now I'm going to turn on clipping before I scale it up, so I don't get a crossover into the middle. And we'll scale this down, or extrude it down. Okay. So this is going to be the brains of our robot, and we're going to have two little cute dinosaur arms going to come out. Now we'll amend the shape of this in a moment, so I was going to first of all close it, so we'll put a face there, a loop cut through the center, and a face, and another face. And we'll add in a couple of loop cuts to improve the look of it. Okay, so I'm going to take this here, I'm going to hit H for hide, and Alt H will unhide all these, just get them out of the way for now. So, oops, so that's going to edit mode. We'll loop cut through here, go into wireframe, so we're going to go GY and GZ. And in the front, GX. Okay, so before we do that, I think we'll add another loop cut there. this is just aesthetics. There is no good reason to do any of this. And we'll try and anthropomorphize our robot a little bit. So we'll add in a plate across here. Now we'll tidy that up. And we won't do that. So instead, what we'll do is we'll go GY and okay. No, I'm not feeling that at all. So I'm going to get rid of this geometry. And we'll think of something else for that. But we'll stay with the eyes and we'll give him some proper eyes in a second. So we'll take that and add in, oops, Shift S, Control Cursor selected. And we'll add in circle with 12 verts and scale it down. And we'll rotate it 90 degrees. And bring it back inside, go into edit mode. Oops, and vertex select. We will extrude it on Y. And we could spend quite a while making this look like a camera lens, but I am not going to spend too long because we have a long way ahead of us of modeling and texturing. Okay, now we're going to take that and join it to here, Control J, set it to be smooth, and we'll add in a couple of loop cuts to tidy it up, but not too much. Now, a couple of things we haven't talked about is the amount of geometry that we have. And at the moment we have 144,000 verts, which is quite a lot, but not a crazy amount. Okay, and so let's move that back just a little bit and move that in. No, we'll leave it. So we'll leave it like that. So we're on 20 minutes. So the last thing we'll do is very quickly is we will take this object here and the entire leg. We'll look to the right. We'll go Shift D and move it forward, and Y, and we will hit S for scale. And as we can see, we've got all our individual components scaling. So we will select this here as the active object and go active object, and we'll scale back to that. And we'll scale it by 50% and rotate it 90 degrees. We will position it there. Now, if we have done this correctly, so I'm going to select this object here, cursor just selected, and we'll go back to, that's not what I wanted. So cursor just selected, and let's select all them again. So B and all that stuff. And now I'm going to go OR. So OR minus 90, and I'm going to go GZ. And so I'm going to use this as another foot basically. And I will drop that accordingly. And we'll go back here. We can drop that. And then this. Okay. Now we have a weird looking thing. And we will go, we'll take that cursor to selected, and we're just going to rotate it up 90. Now we need to fix the hand. This won't work as a hand. These two pieces won't join in the center, so we'll come back and do that in the next tutorial. Let's just get ourselves some geometry. So Shift D to duplicate, and we're going to go Object Mirror on Global X, and then go GX and move it across to there. And we'll take this guy here, and we'll just hide all this for a second. Add in a loop cut. I'm just going to go Alt H for a second in object mode. So that area, okay. So we want just going to look through here in wireframe. So it's the larger circle I'm trying to encompass. Okay, so I need a further loop cut. No, I don't need that. So I need one here at the back. So I'm going to loop cut there, which is, yep, pop me all around, that's okay. So now I should be able to select, oops, Right, okay. So don't need that. Okay, so I need to tweak one of them there, but I'm going to extrude again, extrude again. Okay. And I'm going to go to vertex select. And move that to there. And Alt H. Okay. Yeah, it's not too bad. We've given up some ears. Okay, so what we've got here is a rather funny looking, let's move the camera down to have a look at what we've got. So up here we've got lock camera to view, so now I can bring this down and have a look. Okay, and we can render that out. Now there's no materials, there's no lighting, I don't even know where the light is. But this will be our first go at creating our model. So let's see if we can bring that down here. Let's go to cycles render, turn on ambient occlusion, and we'll render it up in the viewport. And we will there's our camera and there is our lamp. So go to our lamp settings. Oops. And we'll say use nodes. We'll reduce the amount of light coming out and make it a bit blue. Alright. So we're not doing too badly. So this is going to be the robot that we're going to get to walk, and it should be an interesting rig to animate, because there should be a lot of interesting movement. So there'll be pistons, hopefully some sort of movement, like kind of lateral movement as well, that we can exaggerate with the kind of swaying of this from side to side. Okay, so that's as done for this tutorial, and when we come back, like I said, we've got a little bit to fix on the hands, if you can call them that, and the claws, and then we will work on materials and shaders, and then we shall rig and animate, and hopefully all of that will be fun.